Is there hope when you feel in a shutdown, in a depression, where all energy is stuck and dull and gray? My answer is yes, and it is still a miracle that I can say the answer is yes. Because after having flowered for 7 years in setting up my company, Joy in Meditation, facilitating family constellations, writing a book, Depression, a Stepping Stone Towards Bliss, about my story of coming out of my depressions. After having done the somatic experiencing training of 3 years, somatic experiencing, which works with trauma, something very sudden happened. A break in my 29-year relationship with an Indian man in the beautiful Osho meditation resort in India, without closure, without being able to say goodbye. So it ended in a kind of nothingness. And my whole world collapsed. First, I could still feel grief and deep pain. And then everything turned gray and my nervous system was just frozen, totally frozen, like no connection with myself anymore, no connection with the outside world, no meaning in my life anymore because my life lost the meaning and lost the connection with the Osho meditation resort because that was connected very much also to him. So I had no purpose anymore. I wondered why hadn't I not chosen to have children? Why did I have so little friends, so less friends? And what was the meaning of my work after all when I could not help myself to come out of this shutdown? Not with my tools of the somatic experiencing, not with my tools of the meditation techniques from Osho. And I was really totally desperate. I had done so many trainings, so many workshops. And then out of the blue, so-called accidentally, I think nothing is accidentally, I saw a small advertisement in the newsletter of Osho News of Manisha McClure's Dance Alchemy training. And even when I not even felt like moving, I had been going to the sports school and that did something to me, so movement was important. But I didn't feel like moving because I didn't know which direction. Because the direction I wanted to figure out with my mind. But I saw this advertisement about the dance alchemy. Alchemy is what people used earlier to make from other metals to change them into gold. So something that happens by joining things and something totally new comes out. And I was very skeptical about it. Will that help dance? Do I anyhow like to dance? Do I like to move? Because everything in me was like feeling giving up. So I joined one evening class of Manisha, and we danced first ourselves, and then we danced change. So change was very fearful. I was afraid of change. And even when I was longing for change, I was very afraid of change. And the beautiful thing is, that's the beauty of a group. It was a Zoom meeting with more people, that almost everybody was afraid of change. So then we danced that fear of the change. And it was so amazing what started happening when the fear feels like something frozen. But in everything, even in the freeze, there is energy stuck in it. In the depression, I feel depression is also just a name, but in the stuckness, there is something that is like an ice cube, but if the ice cube melts, it's the energy of water. So, in everything, whether it is panic or anger or stuckness or depression or collapse, there is an energy, only maybe a very small energy. And it is possible to start moving or dancing from this energy. So if you feel stuck right now, that you feel where in the body is this stuckness. Maybe it's in your solar plexus. Maybe it's in your jaws. Maybe it's in your eyes. Maybe it's in your hands. And then connect with it. Just absorb it. Become the stuckness. This is what I learned in the Dance Alchemy training. And then you start moving, expressing. How is it to feel this stuckness? Like maybe, and then you start dancing or moving with it. Or maybe you feel how much the longing is to come out of this stuckness. And then in the dance, something appears because the body has a much higher and deeper wisdom than the mind. We try to figure out everything with the mind. But the real wisdom is of the body. The stuckness is also a wisdom to withdraw when everything becomes too much, to constrict, to protect yourself, to protect your essence. And that helps for a moment, but then it starts being not so beneficial for your life. And the art is not to fight it, the stuckness, not to think, now I have to dance in order to free myself from the stuckness. No, to go into it, into the stuckness, and then start moving with it, not knowing what will come out. That's an alchemy, what will come out. When you combine the intensity of the dance, and intensity doesn't mean this big, it can also be very small. To combine the intensity, which gives a better opportunity to look at what is, with the acceptance of the heart. So in the training, you in the dance alchemy, you connect a lot with the loving, accepting, embracing space of the heart, the embrace of the stuckness, the holding of the stuckness, the unconditional love, the space you give to the stuckness. And then when you stop moving, you notice, you close your eyes and you notice what has changed. Is there even a small change? different than before you started the dance. And so in that evening, when I joined Manisha's class, and she gives a class very cheap every first Saturday of the month. So her website I will write down in the description of this video. In that class, as I said, we danced first ourselves, then the fear of the change. And then she said, maybe you can also bring in something else. You don't have to know what it is to dance that. And what I started dancing was the longing for aliveness, the longing for life. And when I danced my longing for life, I felt a flow which I had not felt before. So the longing was there in me, but it was a difference when I started dancing that longing, because then the longing became embodied in me. I could feel it, that it was in me, the flow, that there was a flow in me. Then I decided to join the Dance Alchemy training, and I had to go to Italy, and it was a big thing to go to book the ticket for the plane, then to find out the train from Pisa to Osho to Siena. Then I had to be picked up with a shuttle. And in my stuckness, even the smallest thing, like going for shopping for my food, was already much. So it took me a lot, and I allowed myself to do it bit by bit. First book the plane and do it bit by bit. And finally, I arrived in Osho Miasto, the Osho Meditation Center, where she was giving the training for the last time. But she will still give groups. I will tell about that later. And I arrived like, oh my God, I hope that there will be enough for me, that I will receive enough, because after 2.5 weeks I will go back. And I was desperate. I felt a despair to go back with the same hopelessness as which I had arrived. So I tried to grab everything, and I was in a hurry. But I could dance the hurry. I could see what came out of that dance, what was the energy of my hurry. I started accepting myself by connecting with the heart energy in my chest, which I could not feel at all in the beginning, but by the music, by the movements of the arms and the hands, which touched the aura of the heart, the energy field of the heart, which is also around our chest, feeling the movements of the fingers, how that touched the space inside my chest. By doing that every day as part of the training, I could more and more feel that I could mother myself, that I felt a softness, something totally different from the head, and an opening to the nature, to the other participants, and to myself, and to a space of trust, not knowing what my future would bring, but resting in that not knowing. And then the awareness also deepened, because dancing brings a kind of, not a kind of, brings an energy flow, and you start feeling things. Opening the heart also opens the deeper emotions, also sadness, also anger, also happiness. So there is more to what you can more easily be aware of, conscious of. If you are all the day sitting in a collapsed state, there is not so much to absorb. But after dancing and your heart is beating and your breathing is going more deep, there is a lot to notice. And that gives the feeling of being alive. I started connecting with my needs. There was an allowance to feel how much we need as a small child, how much food we need, how much love we need. We learned how to say no to what was not okay from what our parents did to us. Not denying the parents, because the parents have also given us a lot, but also to say, no, this was not okay for me, even when you could not do it in another way. For me, it was not okay. And that gave me a feeling of dignity, of self-worth, of agency also, to be able to say yes to what I need and no to what is not beneficial for me. And also that has made the connection with other people more easy and more beautiful. Also, having lived and danced all these emotions and feelings, that everything can be there as it is without having to change anything. That also makes that I can see that this is in everybody, even when somebody walks over the street very self-confident, then still I know there is also a part in that person who is vulnerable, who knows sadness, who knows anger. And the dance is also, you can express the sad feelings, but also the dance, what evolves is also joy. So working with trauma, for example, is so much more light and joyful, because every one of us knows trauma, but it has a very heavy connotation. And the heaviness is because we want to reject it, we want to push it away, we want to get rid of it. And what you want to get rid of, it pulls back in a more strong way because it wants to be seen. And some things that we face, some patterns that come back and again and again, they want to be faced our whole life, but all the time in a different way. We can work with it, we can dance with it, we can be with it, and then also the joyful side will appear. And now I feel so alive in a so new way. And the dance alchemy training as such, Manisha, who does this already 40 years, she's very experienced, also a very deep meditator. She is very alive, very compassionate, and so much skillful. And she did also the mystery school in Pune with Osho. She has such a quality of helping you to transform into the alive being, into the being you really are. And the good news is, this is the last alchemy training which I am doing right now, and which I will finish, the other parts that are still required. But the good news is that a week dancing the emotions, the alchemy of dancing and transforming emotions, she gives in Osho Risk in Denmark. It's a beautiful Osho Center, very intimate, harmonious atmosphere, very loving people who work there. She will give that week, that very precious week, from the 26th of July until the 1st of August. It is a module of the therapist training that is happening there in Denmark. But Osho Risk has opened it for everyone. So apart from the 12 participants of the training, other people can join. So if you feel a resonance with what I'm sharing, I can just share it from my own experience, and maybe you can see it in my eyes. I should join a picture from my eyes before I join this training. And when you want to make not only a journey outside to a maybe new country, Denmark, but also within, and from within to without with joy this summer, then I can really recommend this week which she offers. It is pure gold. And I will also join my website underneath, and also the page of Osho Risk, where you can find the information about this week. And I will give small experiences with movement, dance, something what I already can share from what I told you in Eindhoven. So you can look on the in the agenda of my website. Maybe I will do it in other cities as well. You can also ask me to do it for you and your friends. But I will join that to the agenda of my website, because I don't have a page on my website about dance right now. I integrate it also in my family constellations. But when you want to see what I do with the dance or with the movement, look in the agenda of my website. Also, I would be very happy if you feel like to expose also yourself a little bit, to share your experience with what you felt during what I was sharing, or your own experience in this area, or questions which you have. You can also email me, or you can phone me. I will join my phone number as well. Yeah, and I will answer your question as good as possible, or my experience. So thank you for listening, and I wish you a very beautiful day or night.